Pylon listeners, we are back. It's been a little while, but we are back and ready to talk about this 2021-2022 NFL season, especially here in the NFC North. It's been a while, gentlemen, but let's go around and just remind everybody who we are. I'm Big Z, representing Detroit Lions. Let's go around to the rest of the crew. Kinger.
Boys, it has been too long. This kind of feels like the official kickoff episode of our second season doing this, right? You know, we had all the offseason, but we're finally back. Football's right around the corner. This has got to be the start of the second year here.
We're well rested, baby. And that's Kinger representing the Packers, I forgot to mention. Then we got Remy representing the Vikings.
Skull to the bull, purple rain and control us our year, Vikings fans. Stand up. Let's go, baby.
And then last but not least, we got Barty representing the Bears. All right.
What up, boys?
All right. I mean, I like it. The dog's got to eat, right, Barney?
The dog's gotta eat.
Oh, man. So, I mean, it's been a while. I know. We'll be talking about training camp on here, but first, there's something that we just cannot start without. I mean, it's been the story of the off season. He's been golfing, throwing footballs to people on boats in the ocean or wherever the hell that is. He was doing it, but regardless, Aaron Rodgers. That's what our text thread.
I knew you guys were going to do this to
Former
me.
Green Bay quarterback.
I mean, just the stories coming out about it constantly. It's just amazing. Like, I don't even know if it was true or not, but I thought it was funny on the McAfee show the other day. Like, McAfee confirmed that Rodgers did that his country club renewal was auto renewal, and the deep cleaning on his house is not true. It's just some of those stories are funny. But Kinger, let's start with you. Just about the reaction to Adam Schefter's most recent report that Aaron Rodgers is offered to be the highest paid player in the NFL, stay with the Packers for 5 more years, and he declined it. And what do you think about that?
Well, I just love Schefter's. To me, seems like he's just scrambling here. I think he's doing anything and everything possible to get a story out of this to make it seem like he's right. I believe if you go back, I think it was Mike Silver of the NFL reported back in April of this year that the Packers were working with Aaron on a contract extension, trying to lock him into Green Bay long term. Nobody actually really knows when this was turned down. But this contract thing, Green Bay trying to lock him in, this is not news in my opinion. We're just going to go back to the point I made. I think Schefter is obviously right. He's not completely out of the loop. Everybody's well aware that Rodgers is a little bit unhappy in Green Bay. But a lot of these reports, all these NFL talking heads, I think we're just going in circles. And obviously with training camp being right around the corner, there's a little bit more anticipation. Everybody's really waiting to see how this is all going to play out. But we're exactly where we were right when we talked about this back at the end of May, I think when it was. So from my perspective, nothing's changed. I still expect Aaron to report to training camp here in the upcoming weeks.
Remy, I know you got something to say about this. That's for sure.
No, I'm a man of curiosity, and I'm curious.
Oh yeah.
To what does Green Bay what does a Green Bay Twitter Green Bay think? Are you guys bought in? Jordan Love could be really good. We just don't know. We haven't got to see Jordan Love. Maybe we don't even want to see Jordan Love, but what does Green Bay Twitter?
Do you want to see Jordan Love, Remy? Come on now.
I would love to see Jordan Love.
I respect Remy for at least acknowledging that nobody knows out there how good Jordan Love wants to be. You can make all the opinions in the world. You can have, you can say whatever you want about him, but nobody really knows, right? Just like all the draft picks the Packers obviously had a plan in place to ease him into this role, and is he ready in year 2? We're not quite sure yet. But to answer your question, Remy, I mean, I think it's a general consensus. I think most everybody wants to see Aaron Rodgers back in a Packers uniform. We know that the end of this run is coming here. Probably, in my opinion, it's going to come after this season, the 2021-22 offseason. They're going to end up moving on from Aaron. So I think right now, I think people still want him back, and obviously there is some general frustration about it. I think mostly because you brought up to me before previously is that he hasn't spoken on it. You know, there's been no comments at all basically from Rodgers the last 3 or 4 months. Nobody really knows what the guy's thinking. And obviously he's got a stubborn side to him. And it does appear that he does hold a grudge like the best of them out there. But at the end of the day, he's continued to say great things about Green Bay, the fans, his teammates, the coaching staff. So there's nothing in my mind right now that really is pushing him away. And I think a lot of people do feel that same way. Some obviously might be ready to make the move, but I think it's still general. People want Aaron back.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most nervous and 1 being the least, where are you at? I'm just curious. Like, is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? What are you all bought in that Rodgers will be back?
Rodgers is going to be back. I truly do believe that. I've said it, and I was, back on the podcast. There's a whole list of reasons on why it doesn't make sense for Green Bay to do anything at the moment, mainly because the salary cap reasoning. The ability to haul in the biggest draft capital has already passed. That would have happened before the draft if they were going to do it. So you look at Aaron Rodgers and you got to just ask yourself, do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to sit out an entire football season with a very good roster that the Green Bay Packers have, a coaching staff and fan base who he consistently compliments and says that he likes, to really, spite the Packers and that management? And some people may say so, and I do think he does hold the best, but I think there's too much competitive edge in him. I think he's going to be back. I really do. Make him sweat it out a little bit. Maybe not day 1 at training camp, but he's coming back.
Barney, do you agree? Do you think Aaron Rodgers will be back?
Here's the thing. I think Aaron Rodgers, everything that you just said, Kinger, to the most stable-minded person, that makes a lot of sense. All right? But a guy like Aaron Rodgers, a guy that just doesn't lose in life, right? He doesn't care about the fans and the city of Green Bay. He that's a family, just like the family he divorced a long, long time ago. And I'm thinking personally myself, and I'm not trying to just be clickbaity here, but I totally think that the model is out there for quarterbacks who are in elite company that just at the twilight of their career, and now Aaron Rodgers probably got 3 more pretty damn good years left. So I'm not saying that he's, on the golden road here, but, when the only thing to me that separates Aaron Rodgers from a lot of the names up top is the wins, the Super Bowl wins, right? The NFC North wins. I think that if Aaron Rodgers, being the competitive guy he is probably thinking, okay, Peyton did it, Brady did it, all in their first seasons. There are 10 teams in the NFL that could benefit from Aaron Rodgers' usage of being a quarterback that I think could give them a better shot at winning the championship than the Packers do.
I see, and that's where I'd love to hear what your thoughts were, because I realistically think there's maybe 3 or 4 rosters that are better than Green Bay's roster from top to bottom that he'd have a better chance at. And off the teams that are really suitable, better rosters, San Francisco's the only one in my mind that could potentially be on the same caliber as Green Bay. Denver? No way, man. Come on. Denver does not have the same caliber roster.
They got the altitude, baby. They have a good
defense. They have a good defense.
What do you think? What about Minnesota?
Yeah. Minnesota and Chicago.
Minnesota's got 2 prime receivers, a running back, and an elite defense. Maybe an elite defense.
Well, it's the same as Green Bay, though. You got a top 2 wide receiver, you got a top 5 to 7 running back, a top 5 to 7 offensive line. It's the same exact thing. The Bears, no offense, Barney, but the Bears roster is not on the same caliber.
You're wrong.
Green Bay's right now.
Wait, we haven't even brought up the Detroit Lions roster yet.
You take Aaron Rodgers. You take Aaron Rodgers off the Green Bay team. And I'm sorry, but Green Bay's team and their roster is not much better, in your opinion, than the Bears.
I 100% believe that.
And that's totally fine, because everyone has the right to their opinion, but not every opinion is correct.
That's true.
With Aaron Rodgers, in my most humble opinion, is that he doesn't need a really good offense. He can turn people like Robert Tonyan into the best tight end in the league, almost. He could do things with anybody he wants.
Don't take credit away from Big
Shush.
Tonyan.
I'm not trying to do that. All I'm trying to say is the makeup of a team that benefits Aaron Rodgers the most is a team that's just got an incredible defense. Dude, I'm not trying to be an asshole here. The Washington R-words have a better chance of winning the championship with Aaron Rodgers with that defense than Green Bay does. I can name 10 teams up and down the list. I think as long as Aaron Rodgers is out there on one side of the
Rams.
ball and the other team keeps whoever the opponent is under 20, 23, I don't care what it is, Aaron Rodgers can score like there's no tomorrow. And that's just my opinion. The only Achilles heel that has been Aaron Rodgers, basically, except for, this last go around, right? Because he had a few blemishes, he had a few picks, right, in that game with Tampa Bay. But I mean, for the most part, it's mostly been because his defense hasn't been great. And Aaron Rodgers does what he needs to do to be evaluated as a very productive offense in basically any game that he's ever played. It's really just his defense that kind of, makes him need to fight even harder. And to me, that's why I said the Vikings or the Bears. Like, I'm sorry, if the Bears had Aaron Rodgers, or the Lions, if the Bears had Aaron Rodgers, like, that defense, like, with the charisma, they would keep teams under 20, and then it would just be like, all right, Aaron, all you got to do is cross 20 for us. So, and that's all I meant.
And I'll give you that, but, we're going to have lots of conversations going in, talking training camp here these next few weeks. But I think this Green Bay Packers defense has the potential to be a top 5 to 8 defense in the league this year. I really do believe that. That secondary is going to be elite. It's going to be an elite secondary. It's going to be, if the defensive line can continue to create pressure, and the linebackers are obviously just a big-time question. Yeah, we'll talk about Kevin King in a little bit.
All right, Kinger, I'm gonna rattle off 10 names, and I just spitfire. I want you to say, yes or no, could Aaron Rodgers win a Super Bowl with this team? Okay.
Spitfire.
Yeah.
San Francisco,
Yes.
Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Denver,
No.
Minnesota,
No.
Chicago,
No.
Cleveland,
Yes.
Washington,
No.
New Orleans,
Yes.
Tennessee with Julio now,
Yes.
and Indianapolis with just their defense. That's most.
No. Yeah, Indy's no way.
But you thought about a lot of those no's. You at least thought about. The
you gotta think
listeners
about it
aren't
because-
listening.
yeah,
the listeners
yeah,
aren't able
that's
to watch
fair.
you.
That's fair.
You thought about it.
And Barney, I'll give you points. You did make me think pretty well there, and it just shows the value of Aaron Rodgers. And I get that's the point you're trying to make with that. But just still, top to bottom roster, I just don't think any of those teams blow out Green Bay's with what's on paper there, right? So we're talking a very level playing field.
You're right. A lot of those teams have the benefit of not running into the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, and the Minnesota Vikings twice a year. So I totally get that.
Yeah, I think we benefit from that, to be honest. I really do.
Don't tell that to Anthony Barr and Shea McClellan, all right?
Yeah, not
I don't know.
You don't even know what's
I don't-
gonna come at you with Motor City Dan Campbell this year. So.
I don't
We're
know
biting
what is.
kneecaps, baby.
I don't know what is in your pipe, Kinger. But if you don't think Aaron Rodgers cannot win on this Mike Zimmer team with Justin Jefferson and Adam
agree.
Thielen and
I
Dalvin
agree.
Cook in the defense, all bias aside,
Stop
that
somebody.
shocked me. That shocked me.
And I have a lot
Patrick
of questions
Peterson.
about that Minnesota secondary, and I still don't think your
Oh,
offensive line is that good. I
We'll
still
give you.
don't think your offense-
I'll give you answers to all that. You'll see.
Yeah, hey, that's fine. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. It's the Vikings are going to be an interesting squad this year.
Best rookie corner last year, Cam Dantzler.
That's not true. Jalen Johnson is definitely better.
Yeah,
Jalen Johnson was
No. If you look, go.
yes.
Go
Don't
back.
if you look.
No.
Don't if you look. I mean, it'll take
Go-
me 2
go.
seconds to put up stats.
Jalen Johnson was definitely better. Come on, man.
No. Back
But
to back,
I do
back
like
to back
Cam
weeks with
Dantzler.
picks.
But Remy, you're. I don't know what's in your pipe, buddy.
Some good shit.
We'll see, boys, but I'm telling you, we should move on to our training camp battles. Aaron Rodgers will be taking snaps in a Green Bay uniform this year.
Yeah, so
All right,
let's
well,
go around really quick. Yeah, Barney, you want to throw one really quick?
Big Z, don't act like, you don't want to hear what's coming out of my mouth here. You don't want to move this on. Kinger, I'm down to do a wager, kind of Impractical Joker style. If Aaron Rodgers reports, I'll do something fucking idiotic. But if Aaron Rodgers is not playing for the Green Bay Packers.
Week 1. It doesn't matter when he shows up to training camp.
Week 1. It doesn't matter if he's still on the team and he doesn't play week 1. Week 1, if he's not playing, we might have to divert to the listeners here for specific punishment, but it's got to be about as the same amount of degree where you said you're absolutely not worried, you're not nervous, just to Remy's question.
Oh,
it's got to be something as egregious as that.
Okay.
He is.
I'm in on it. I'm already drinking. I already got a buddy on Twitter. We're drinking a 6-pack of Peroni in 30 minutes. So I'll be on the IG Live if Rodgers is not taking snaps week 1 versus New Orleans Saints.
Barring an injury.
Barring an injury, exactly.
Anthony Barring.
So this is
right, dude.
Willingly does not.
That's going to be right out of Aaron Rodgers' playbook. He's going to have like a sore hammy week 1, just trying to put pressure on the Green Bay elites over there. Trust me.
All right, we'll figure that. We'll figure that up. We'll scheme something up, and we'll bring it back up in a later podcast. And we, like you said, getting some listener interaction on this. I'm all for it.
All right. So Barney, you don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to show up then, right?
I think Aaron's ready to go to Jeopardy. To be honest, I think he looks at his sack of shit locker room in Green Bay and he's like, you know what, I'm done here. I've been carrying these guys, these fools. He's actually, I think, allegedly, he's called all his teammates idiots. So I mean, I can neither confirm nor deny. Allegedly, I think he's out.
And Remy, you?
I was really, I'm always anti-Aaron Rodgers. I'm anti-Green Bay Packer, but, Kinger did have some good points. I'm a little 50-50 on it. I hope he's not back, but there's just this gut instinct that tells me he's going to show up and it's just going to be so stupid.
Remy, come on, man.
And I would, I'm going to, if I had to make a prediction, I would say Aaron Rodgers will be there week 1, starting the season. For the Green
boys
Bay
are
Packers.
seeing the light, and I love it. You're seeing the light.
That's,
if
that's
I had
enough.
to make a guess, I'll just make an educated guess here. Not what I want to see, but what I think.
I just did a great job persuading you guys to be on my side with that, right? That's what
I thought that before we came in. I'm not giving you that credit.
I'm starting. Okay, fuck Aaron Rodgers. He's gone.
All right, gentlemen. So let's move on now to training camp battles, shall we? So we're gonna go around and just list a couple of the big training camp battles as training camp starts to ramp up starting next week. We're recording this on July 22nd. July 31st is when a lot of the training camps really start to ramp up around the NFL. So I think we're going to start this with you, Remy. List the two of the top training camp battles that you're looking at here. Take it away.
So right now, the Minnesota Vikings have roughly around $13 million in cap space, in which Viking fans were eager to either sign Melvin Ingram, which that didn't happen, obviously, or D.D. Westbrook as a wide receiver 3. In those two positions, the DN and the wide receiver 3 are positions that I personally am going to focus on because, you got the star-studded Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, and you just want that third guy to be like, okay, we got a big 3 trio. And I don't necessarily think that that's going to come for free agency. It's going to come ultimately, and I'm wearing the shirt from my boy Amir Smith-Marset out of Iowa. It was a dream when we drafted him. So in a locker room where you're battling for that third wide receiver position against guys like Chad Beebe and Olabisi Johnson, they've been in the system for a couple of years. They know the system, but something about Amir Smith-Marset and his playmaking ability, just don't fucking front flip into the end zone and hurt your foot, you idiot. You will be cut. But I think that's going to be an interesting battle at wide receiver 3, and I have been hearing reports on Twitter that Amir Smith-Marset is emerging as that wide receiver 3 candidate. So that'll be interesting. Second one would be the defensive end position. It's funny when people tell me that the Vikings defense isn't going to be good. You got Danielle Hunter returning fully healthy. You got Michael Pierce, who just had a calf injury, but should be good by week 1, will be good by week 1. But you brought in Sheldon Richardson. You got Dalvin Tomlinson. So that left end, or should I say right end spot's going to be crazy. And I know we just drafted a guy. Let me see here. Jesus Christ. Janoris Robinson. So if you look him up, he's got a longer wingspan than Danielle, and they call him like the next Danielle Hunter. So right now, DJ Wanham, who had the infamous strip sack fumble against Aaron Rodgers last year, right now he's slated to start, but I think it's going to be an interesting camp battle between that opposite side of Danielle Hunter. We got some dogs on the D-line, and I'm ready to just have a good defense and prove every single one of you that Minnesota has it this year.
Barney.
I think Minnesota will have a good defense, but I got two things to say. One, with the comparisons to Danielle Hunter, I don't know if that's a shot at how bad Danielle Hunter is or at how good this Jamar guy is, because to call somebody the next somebody that you are so high on, I mean, let's take the training
his
wheels.
athleticism.
People love making comparisons to other players all the time.
And there's a website you go to and you can track on a graph where they went their 3-cone, all that, and it shows how athletic their athleticism and everything, and his numbers. Yeah, and they are exactly almost identical to Danielle. Whether he can translate that to the field is something different, but I'm just saying that's what they're called. Reports out of Minnesota want to call him the next Danielle Hunter, and Danielle Hunter is
Danielle Hunter. So that's a fact.
Yeah, but he's also the youngest to 50 sacks, and
he's a stud. But I just would never, I would never point him out as to being a comparison to somebody that personally I've never even heard of, Jamar something.
Janarius Robinson.
Yeah, exactly. Now my other thing is Gladney's still on the team, right?
Gladney's still on the team. That court is yet to. They're going to. I believe the case. They're taking it. They're looking to file, or something's happening July 29th. He's still on the team. They're still investigating the case. It looks like as of now, he's going to play. So I don't think I don't know. It's a very
he's reaching a settlement
area.
What I wanted to say is then it does not shock me at all that you guys are kicking the tires on D.D. Westbrook. All right.
Oh no, we're not. Yeah, no, we're not.
Because man, you guys, when you talk about wanting some dogs on the team, I think you guys are looking in the wrong area.
Harrison Smith, Xavier Woods.
They're both woman beaters. I was kidding. That's what I was going to joke for. Jesus.
You don't know that innocent until proven guilty, but I do not. This is not me condoning what Jeff Gladney may or may not have done. Time will tell, just like the Rodgers situation. I'm done getting grilled.
Throwing it back to the Rodgers situation again. You gotta love it.
When in doubt.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
When do the Vikings show up, Remy? When do they report?
I don't know.
It's got to be obviously next week sometime.
I think it's in 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They'll show up a couple. But July 31st, I believe, is the day when everybody's starting, on the field. Actually, they might arrive.
There's a few teams that start.
The Packers a different day.
Yeah, the Packers report next Wednesday. I mean, there's a few teams out there right now. The Cowboys were out there on the field today. I saw some Tyron Smith highlights and some different things. So I think.
Right, but they started early because of the Hall of Fame game.
Oh, that makes sense. There you go. I didn't put that together.
Bears are starting on Tuesday, but I don't want to say anybody's hungrier than the others. But we're Tuesday.
All right, so Barney, let's go to you then. If they're so hungry, what are some of the big battles going on in Chicago this offseason? Where do the Bears have training camp? Is it Olivet Nazarene still in Bradley Bourbonnais?
I think this year is gonna be the first time they're in Lake Forest. I got to double check that.
Soon to be the Arlington Bears too, guys. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah.
But the holes here with the Bears, who's going to play nickel? We cut Buster Screen, right? And who's going to play opposite CB1 Jalen Johnson, right? We cut Kyle Fuller, and he's now with Vic Fangio in Denver. But right now, all eyes are pointing to Duke Shelley, our third-year guy out of Kansas State, playing the nickel, and Desmond Trufant playing cornerback 2. But
for a week until he injures himself.
Yeah, I personally don't. I'm not really high at all on Trufant. He hasn't been the stout corner that he's been like when he was like 3 years ago when he was in Atlanta. He's had a couple rough seasons lately. The last one all too well, Big Z.
I mean, he's not bad when he's out there. It's just he's never out there. That's his big problem. Right.
But we got some surprises here. I think Kendall Vildor last year, he had 135 snaps. He was a rookie. Not a huge pool to play from. He's from Georgia State. Again, he's a rookie. But out of that 135 snaps, 134 of them came with 4 weeks left in the season when Jalen Johnson went down and he was playing cornerback number 2, opposite of Kyle Fuller. And, it's not like he was an absolute shutdown guy at all by any means, but he definitely played better than what was expected. And a lot of the guys are really high on him. And then there's Thomas Graham Jr., our 6th-round draft pick, who I think was one of a steal in that later round of this year's draft from Oregon. I think either of those can make any combination of cornerback 2 and nickel. So, I like Duchelle. I think he's a gamer. Trufant, like what you said, he's healthy, but he's getting older now, and he's not really that healthy when he's playing. So, I'm seeing, I think by week 4 or 5, I think those guys will probably be full-time starters, Vildor and Graham, which is nice. Other guys that are going to be fighting for that position are Artie Burns. He was a first-round draft pick like 5 years ago in Pittsburgh, right? He never really panned out. And then there's Trey Roberson, who's a Canadian Football League guy. But again, I think the 2 younger guys, Graham and Vildor, are going to be, looked to as the next man up in those 2 positions. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I'll skip over quarterback. I know quarterback's obviously blatant with Dalton and Fields. In my opinion, it'll probably take a few weeks. I think by week 4 when we face the Motor City, I think that's when, Justin Fields will be out there. I'd love for him to be out there before, but, I really don't care. I haven't been this excited to watch offensive Bears football in a long time. But as far as the next training camp position battle, I'm just going to group the offensive line together. People forget that with the last 7 games of the year last year, with Sam Mustipher coming in, with us taking out Rashad Coward, with the things that we did, the litany of moves that we made, we actually held together and played as a really good unit. David Montgomery, I think, was averaging less than 70 yards a game in the first 7 or 8 games of the year. And then at the end of the year, he was the 5th highest rushing leader in the NFL. And that was because of how well that replacements almost like offensive line, how well they performed. Mm-hmm. And so right now, what it looks like is Tevin Jenkins, the rookie, the 2nd-round rookie, he's going to be playing left tackle. Right next to him at left guard is going to be Cody Whitehair, which I think that's his absolute best position. That's where he's most comfortable. Then you got center, you got Sam Mustipher. Then you got James Daniel coming back, who was a real anchor for us and strong. He was showing a lot of promise until he tore his pec. So right there is where my worries come in. You never know. I mean, I never had a pec terror before, but I mean they're probably brutal, especially to a lineman who's using their upper body to block. But as long as he can perform, then I honestly think like we're looking good. And then right tackle we have Jermaine Ifedi / 5th round draft pick this year, Larry Borum, who again the Bears are really high on. So one thing that's really good about Borum is he can play right tackle or right guard. So just in case one of those guys, Ifedi or Daniel, struggles, he might be able to be somebody that comes in and can perform at a higher level. So as far as a position battle goes, this line is completely fluid. But as far as what we saw from last year and how well they did in the end of the year, to give David Montgomery a push, I really am just intrigued in what the Bears' offensive line is going to do.
I'm just sitting here laughing because we heard you say absolutely nothing positive about the Bears' offensive line through 17 weeks of the season, or 18 weeks if you include the playoff game last year. And now it sounds like I don't know, everything's bright and sunny now on this side of the.
You've got selective hearing. You've got selective hearing, Big C.
Selective hearing? You're the one that rips on the offensive line every week.
Yeah. And my two biggest things. Anyone else, correct me. It was Rashad Coward being a defensive lineman being out there starting, and it was fucking Charles Leno. Guess what? We got rid of both of those. So yeah, I am pretty fucking happy about our offensive line direction. Those were the only two guys that I really chewed out every single week. So, yeah, shit is sunshine and rainbows when you get that dog shit off our team.
Well, I'm going to bring it back down to reality because I think Tevin Jenkins is there's a reason he fell to the second round as a left tackle.
Of course you do. Of course
and Larry Borum, you seem to be really high on a fifth-round draft pick stepping in.
I just want to comment on Tevin real quick, too. Tevin played right tackle in college, right? I'm pretty confident he was a right tackle at Oklahoma State. So having that,
yeah, he was.
So having that shift to left tackle, there's going to be some learning curves in that. And I think the Bears, personally, I think they got a good value for where they got Jenkins. But for him to come out, I think there's going to be a lot of year one growing pains. Now, is that going to be worse than what they had last year? Who knows? But to expect him to come in and be dominant right away, it's going to be a learning curve for him.
And I'll just cut you guys off here. I don't know if what I just said in my 2-minute monologue about the line made you guys think that I was thinking that this line was going to be amazing. I don't know if I gave that impression because I don't think I did. However, any left tackle that steps into the league, making the jump from college to the pros is going to have a bit of a learning curve.
Okay.
The fact that
bringing you back down a bit, Barney.
The fact that Jenkins, guys, I'm talking about the 32nd worst offensive line in the league, and I'd be thrilled if they were 24th worst. Okay, that's what I'm talking about here. All right, I mean, come on. I mean, let's just relax here. But again, when you look at the tape, like I did every single week, Charles Leno was there's 32 teams. He was the 100th best left tackle in the league last year. There were practice team left tackles on other teams that were better than Charles Leno. So, I mean, learning curve or what? He's going to be at least a floor the same as Charles fucking Leno. So I'm excited to see, he's got a mentality that's nasty. And, to be totally honest, he's just not a big, giant pussy like Leno was. And that is what I'm excited about. Excuse my French, listeners here that might get mad at that word. But, it's time to bear down.
Oh, man. It'll be interesting to see what happens there, though, Barney. I know they definitely do have a lot of turnover there. And James Daniels, that him returning will be interesting. At center, you said Mustipher, right? That's where you think he'll start?
Yeah, I think Mustipher will probably be the center.
Gotcha. All right. So a little bit of defense, a little bit of offense there, looking into training camp. And that training camp's at Hellas Hall, Barney. We looked it up while you were
in Lake Forest, yeah.
Oh, is that where Hell is? I didn't even know that, honestly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to shift this over now to Motor City, the Troy Lions. We can pretty much go with every position besides maybe quarterback in terms of battle here and offensive line. There's just humongous roster overturn for this upcoming season. But I'm going to focus first. The biggest one is wide receiver. The Troy Lions have a lot of guys on one-year deals or draft picks, basically. That is what you're looking at as the wide receiver position for the Lions. The most notable signings this offseason were Tyrell Williams and Brashad Perryman. I would imagine those two getting a lot of time. Who is the number one receiver out of those two? TBD. No idea. Absolutely no idea. I would imagine I would lean towards Tyrell Williams, but that is assuming he is a healthy Tyrell Williams and he can live up to some of the, ceiling, I guess, that he's reached in his past in San Diego. But man, you could tell I'm kind of losing my words here because I don't know what to think of this wide receiving core. The rest of it is kind of going to be a battle. You got Quintez Cephas, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the 4th-round draft pick for the Lions. You got Victor Bolden, an undrafted free agent. Geronimo Allison, who opted out last year, will be back for the Lions, at least competing for a roster spot. Tom Kennedy, there's always that one little wide receiver everybody has in their training camp. Tom Kennedy's been there for 3 years, a former lacrosse player. So
Edelman.
Right, yeah.
Was that Amendola or Edelman? Yeah.
Amendola, like the Lions have had for the past
No,
few
it was
years.
Hogan. Hogan was the lacrosse player.
Oh, he was too? This Tom Kennedy guy for the Lions is also. So
Right.
Big
Remy,
Z,
yeah, you
quick
want
question.
Yeah.
Is TJ Hawkinson the focal point of that offense?
You'd like to think so based on his draft position. I think the Lions are going to be playing a lot of 2 tight end sets this year, just based on what Anthony Lynn's run in the past and just their emphasis on building in the trenches, building a run-first offense. I think TJ Hawkinson is going to step up in a big way. I think that's the expectation, too. I mean, this is his 3rd year in the league, and he has shown a lot of good potential. He's dropped a few passes here and there over the years. Not Eric Ebron bad by any means in terms of dropping passes, but still he's dropped a few big ones. But he's also stepped up big in a lot of ways. So this is a big season for him. I think the Lions have high expectations for him in this offense as well. What's that, Remy?
He trains with the best tight end in the league, George Kittle. Shout out, George.
He does. He's been training with him, I feel like, more than ever this offseason and just living in Iowa there. And I am glad that him and George Kittle are so close, especially with all the success George Kittle has had in his career so far.
George Kittle's going to be a future Bear. So
No. He likes the Cubs, but I don't think he'll be a Bear. George Kittle was actually just in Dubuque a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
George,
he's not going to be a Bear, Barney.
No, I know he won't. But I think, sorry, Big Z, to cut you off, but I think he was on, there was something that was going on with the Bears. I think it was probably like the Justin Fields pick or like whatever it was. But they were like, hey, how do you feel about whatever? And he's just like, well, being from Chicago or being from Illinois, I've always grown up a Bears fan. So I'm really happy for them. And dude, he's going to be a Bear.
Whatever makes you happy, Barney. I don't know.
You guys got Jimmy Graham. Don't worry, you're fine.
We got Cole Kmet.
Yeah, Cole Kmet, man.
Come on, dude.
But just getting back to the Lions wide receivers really quick.
Do we have to?
Oh yeah.
I'm kidding.
How many do they carry? Do they carry 5? Do they carry 4? It's going to be really interesting to see. Tyrell Williams, Perryman, I think those are for sure in, unless barring injury. Amon-Ra St. Brown as well, and then it's a true battle. Quintez Cephas, I would think, makes it, but this is a new regime. He's not guaranteed anything. He's shown some flashes, like he made a great catch against the Bears in the end zone last year.
I thought he did great last year.
He did okay. He doesn't. He's not a fast guy. He's a guy that can try to find the open spot. And a couple times last year, Stafford had some deep passes he couldn't track down quite. So, he was used a lot early in the season due to injury, and then kind of disappeared a little bit near the end of the season. That catch against the Bears was kind of an anomaly. He didn't really have many of those splash plays near the second half of the season last year.
Maybe that's the one that just stuck in my brain.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a phenomenal catch, and he shows what he can do. But with a lot of these guys, Victor Bolden, Khalif Raymond, he's gonna have a lot of competition. Geronimo Allison, because I think the Lions foresee a lot of, with the draft capital they have going forward, they can use a lot of those draft picks on wide receivers, building that out, and that's why you see so many of these receivers in this roster with 1-year deals. Remy.
Big Z, you know me. I root for the Lions almost every damn week, and
well, I love you, buddy.
The names you are naming off they don't do it for me, dude.
This is gonna be more
magic happens.
This offense is gonna be more scheme.
5-win season. Do you think?
I think they get more than 5 wins. Yeah, but don't give me that look, Barney. I believe in this coaching staff a lot, and I think the Lions are going to win here with scheme over, true talent that they have on the offense. And I really like their coaching staff this year. I think Anthony Lynn, that's a really good presence, especially with Dan Campbell, like a former head coach. There's a lot of former head coaches here. And let's move it to the defensive side, because that's my other training camp battle. Safety. And Kinger, the Lions have Dom Capers in there as well, helping Aaron Glenn run the defense.
Boo.
Maybe
I'm a big believer.
I think Dom has been out of the league long enough now that maybe people forget how to beat his scheme.
No, he was.
Maybe people
he
are
was
forgetting.
just with Minnesota. He was just with Minnesota last year.
Yeah, right. And Dom Capers is there. He's not running the defense here. He's just simply having his input, just like John Dorsey is on the organization as well. There are so many people with success or past success in the NFL part of this organization right now. That's why I don't think 5 wins is the floor, I think, for me, for this team.
The floor!
I do! I drink the blue Kool-Aid. That's my other podcast. We drink the blue Kool-Aid, and that's what I'm doing. I
was just about to ask you, is it Spencer Rattler or is it Sam Howell with the first overall pick that you guys are fighting versus Houston?
If I had to pick one, it's Sam Howell of those two.
You guys are fighting Houston
but it's not gonna happen.
for that pick. All right.
First of all, the Houston Texans are going to be the number 1 pick, okay?
That's what I'm saying.
No team is as bad as the Houston Texans are going to be this year.
Well.
But, anyways. You guys have a lot. I can see where your opinions are going to be headed, like most of the league. And that's why I am here to, address these.
You would not take Spencer Rattler?
Number 1, no, I would not.
You are nuts. You are nuts.
Personally, I'm not totally in on Spencer Rattler myself.
Personally,
however,
I'm gonna just laugh my ass off when he's the next great thing. Personally, just personally for both of you.
You said you bet on Kyler Murray to win MVP. I don't. That's like
it's not a bad
money.
bet.
I think you burned your money, buddy. But we're getting off topic here. Let me just get to my second training camp battle really quick. That's what's happening at safety for the Lions, especially with Will Harris, Tracy Walker. What's going to happen there? I have no idea. The Lions draft pick in the 3rd round, Ife Melifonwu out of Syracuse, I think would be a great fit at safety. Now he's projected for cornerback, but I think he fits better as a safety or nickelback with his athletic profile. Then they have C.J. Moore, Jalen Elliott, Bobby Price. This could go anywhere. Will Harris led the league in missed tackles last year. It was a true travesty. Lions from the safety position last year, I think, missed 79 tackles. But part of the problem is, why are they missing 79 tackles? That's because the front 7 was not so great either. It was just a whole, without Matt Patricia there. And this is another reason why I think the Lions can win 5 games, is that the Lions, they would have been one of the best teams in the league if it was for the first half. If you just take what the score was at the end of the first half, Kid J, you threw the number out to me yesterday, and I didn't prepare to bring this up, so I don't have the number on top in front of me. But it was like 30 and 14 in the time Patricia was there, 28 and 14, something like 28 and 14 sounds about right. It's just those second half adjustments. The Lions played a lot of close games. They just didn't win it. And I think with this new coaching staff, addressing some of the speed issues, especially they had on defense, I have a lot of faith that they can. That's why I think 5 wins, I think, is the minimum for them at least, because I think they're not that far. I know they switched Stafford out for Jared Goff, but I like where the scheme is going. I think Goff can operate in this offense, and the defense will be improved enough to win.
How dare you insult Matthew Stafford like that?
I didn't insult him.
Switching from Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff without
Is a downgrade.
McVay. Anybody that can actually scheme up an offense. Okay. I can't believe for how many years was Matthew Stafford on the team? I mean, he was amazing. Every time, it didn't matter how good the Bears were or how shitty the Lions were. I always feared that game because Matthew Stafford I had respect for, and he was a dog. You guys don't have Matthew Stafford anymore, and the floor is just where you guys left off last year is unreal. Unreal.
I mean, did you watch the Lions last year? The defense was arguably the worst, and
yes,
it was the worst in Lions history. And
yes,
Matt Stafford can't overcome that, and I think that's going to be changed a lot with this new regime.
I totally agree that defense was awful, but now they're a good unit. The offense just got a whole lot fucking worse. Leaving,
I disagree because I think we have a top 5 offensive line here.
Oh my god,
Detroit.
Give me a break.
We have an all-pro center.
You lost
arguably
Galladay.
all-pro left tackle. We have Big V coming up. He's the big question. At right guard, is Big V going to step up or not from his injury?
I don't think he's arguing that you guys don't have a good
easily
line.
The top left tackle in the draft. And he's going to be playing over right tackle. And then we have Jonah Jackson, a second-year
Unreal. You
you
lost Matt Stafford, and then you lost Galladay. Is what's his name with you guys too? I'm drawing
Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones.
They're all gone.
Oh, so all 3 of those guys are gone, and you think the offense is just gonna be like, they're probably gonna be just as good.
I didn't say just as good. I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. I don't think they will be just as good. I think they're gonna take a little bit of a step back.
Oh, they
but
will.
I think in terms of time of possession, I think they're gonna get better there because the run game's gonna be better, and that is because the offensive line, if healthy, is a top 5 unit in the NFL.
This is so.
I agree.
Legit.
I agree.
No, yeah,
and then
I
you with
agree.
T.J. Hawkinson blocking on the edge.
I
in the
agree,
run
Big
game,
C.
That
offensive
DeAndre
line
Swift, we
is
see
tough.
what he could do.
That offensive line is tough. I don't think there's a single player in that locker room. You can tell me I'm a liar, but I don't think there's a single person in that locker room that thinks that they are happy to be on the Detroit Lions.
I completely disagree. Everything coming out of Detroit, especially from the players, they want to play for Dan Campbell. They want to play for this coaching staff. And you're going to see the product on the field. It's going to be way more fun to watch them this year than it was last year, that's for sure.
One more random Lions thing that I saw. So Noah Fant, when asked in an interview, I don't know if you saw it, when Noah Fant was asked, like, was there a team that I think it was on Jordan Bohannon's podcast, the Iowa point guard. He asked him, Noah, was there any team you did not want to go to? And he said he absolutely did not want to go to Detroit. He hated the coaching staff. He hated Detroit.
Yeah,
and
they're gone.
And one of the teams it surprised me, and I just laughed. And one of the teams he really wanted to get drafted by, Minnesota. But I'm happy with Irv Smith, and I'll just leave it at that.
Right. I mean, it's clear as day players hated playing for Matt Patricia. I don't think that. I mean, not a secret. And he is gone because
but
of
it's
that.
A new
and now
regime.
The Lions have done a complete 180 and gotten the players coach.
With the top O-line.
Big Z,
I'm
while
you,
others
trenches.
zig, you zag, and that's why I love you, all right? And the fact that it's a floor of 5 wins, that is what that's the genius in you.
I want to root for him, Big Z. Skull Lions, but I don't know who to root for. I don't even know a name on that team, really. Skull.
You know Jared Goff, you know Panay Sewell, you know Frank Ragnow, you know Trey Flowers, you know
That offensive
Aquara.
line is legit, though.
That offensive line
I will
is
give
dope.
you that. I will give you that. I'm envious of your offensive line.
That's
So
about all I'm envious of.
Let's just because we're running a little longer than I didn't think we were getting into that. So, but I love it, of course, you know. But last but not least, we started with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Now we're going to end with the Packers and their training camp battles. Whether is it Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love? Or are they battling? I'm just kidding. What are we really looking for here, Kinger? What are we really looking for in this training
Well,
camp?
if Rodgers doesn't show up, it's Jordan Love and Kurt Benkert. So, that's a real battle that everybody's going to be. But
yeah, because we stole Tim Boyle from you.
but
No, Jordan Love is clearly the favorite because Kinger's got inside information that he's actually a good quarterback.
Nobody's making any comments on Jordan Love, but we're not even going to have to worry about it because Rodgers is going to be there. He's going to be there up in Green Bay, ready to roll. But, I guess the main thing, though, is we're still going to be in a very good position, but the offensive line and the route that we go moving forward after losing arguably the best center in the league in Corey Linsley, we're going to have to do some shifting. The good thing about the Green Bay Packers organization, specifically back in the Ted Thompson era, drafting offensive line was always a priority, and it's absolutely continued under Brian Gutekunst as well. So over the last 2 or 3 years, the Packers have really focused on continuing to build that depth. We've got a couple studs, in place already with, David Bakhtiari, which he's starting to do light rehab work. It's going to be interesting to see if he's ready to go week 1. My money is going to be that he's not going to be ready week 1. I don't think the Packers want to rush back their all-pro left tackle. I definitely think he's be looking more towards the first quarter of the season, maybe midway, somewhere in that week 4 to 6, 4 to 8 is what kind of my projection is going to be. So we're going to have some guys step up. Obviously, Rick Wagner, I think, retired. We lost Linsley to the Chargers.
That's not much of a loss.
No, but Wagner respectively did play pretty well in the right tackle position last year. I'm going to give him credit. He wasn't excellent, but he did. He was a fine replacement for Bulaga last year after he departed the year previous. So luckily, we've got one of the most versatile offensive linemen in the league in Elgton Jenkins. He can play all 3 of the positions, center, guard, and tackle, and plays all of them quite efficiently. Same thing with Billy Turner. He's proven last year that he can't play center, but both the guard and tackle position, he filled in at left tackle last year and did a
Billy Turnstile?
Billy Turnstile is absolutely
he did pretty good.
Absolutely. He was a respectable replacement when Bakhtiari went out last year. So what my kind of anticipation is if Bakhtiari doesn't start, we're going to have Turner back at left tackle. I think we are going to move Jenkins to center. And then that left guard position, it's going to be interesting to see. Lucas Patrick, under the radar, had a very good year last year. He was top 12 in both run block and pass block efficiency last year. He's a guy that they could potentially cut if they need to make some cap space because they'd save about $2.5 million. But John Runyon Jr., our 5th rounder out of Michigan a couple years ago, stepped in last year as well and played quite well in that guard position when he was called upon. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do with Patrick and Runyon there. I think if Runyon continues to show promise, Patrick could be a guy that gets cut. But we'll wait and see there. And then additionally on that right tackle position, who's going to be the replacement there? We're going to wait and see what happens. But our rookie out of Ole Miss, Royce Newman. Sorry, not Freeman. That's the running back. Royce Newman is shown a lot of promise, right? They think he's going to fit the Packers' run scheme very well. Going to be interesting to see, how he progresses here in his early stages of his NFL career. But everything is showing that he's going to be promised. So we're going to wait and see what happens on the offensive line. Regardless, I think the Packers are definitely still a top 3rd offensive line in the league, no matter where we're at here. Bringing Bakhtiari back, I think, obviously ups that for us once he's healthy and ready to go. But we're going to wait and see what happens on that offensive line. There's a lot to be determined here in the upcoming weeks. Could highlight the D-line, but I think we're going to go more to that cornerback position. Obviously, we've got Kenny Clark, who's an absolute stud in the middle. Who backs him up and provides that second defensive tackle position, whether it's Kingsley Keke out of Texas A&M, who came on a little bit last year. And then additionally, I'm really high on this 5th rounder we got out of Florida this year, TJ Slayton. He's 6'5", 330 pounds, and that man is an athletic freak. He eats up space, really good against the run in college. There was videos of him doing windmill dunks last week at 330 pounds. And so he's a athletic specimen. I'm looking forward to seeing what he could do and if he could really provide that depth, because that's going to be important for us. But we'll move on and we'll talk about the cornerback position, because I think this Green Bay secondary is going to be elite this year. With Jair, Adrian Amos, and Darnell Savage, who is quickly rising to be one of the best safeties in the league, I think really you have a top 3 or 4 unit right there in those 3 guys alone. Now, Kevin King, as we all know, as I was tweeting last year, see you later, Kevin King, makes some terrible, terrible decisions out there, has some plays that he looks like he should not be on the field in an NFL roster.
Tell us how he's going to be
Scotty
good.
Miller.
But 2019, when he was healthy, he had a very good season.
Scotty Miller.
2019 season, he had a very good year. I think Kevin King being healthy, I still think he's got some potential in him. Now, we obviously drafted Eric Stokes out of Georgia in the first round for a reason. When he is going to see the field, I don't think he's going to be ready week 1. I think that's going to be a lot to ask as a rookie who still has some technique things that he needs to work on.
Yeah. Ask Jeff Okuda how that goes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think I think Kevin King ultimately is going to be there, but it's going to be interesting to see where Stokes pushing him. And then additionally going to that slot, that nickel position, what Green Bay is going to do there is also going to be a little bit interesting, because Chandon Sullivan, again, shows flashes. Not a guy that I'm really too excited about, but he does make some plays occasionally that you're like, all right, this guy shows he has some potential in the NFL, but hasn't been consistent with it. We drafted Shamar Jean Charles out of Appalachian State, and he was pretty much he played his most efficient football from that position in college. They're really high on him, obviously bringing in the new defensive coordinator, Joe Barry. He's been known to have very good in coverage, right? His schemes are divided around coverage. And I think one of the weaknesses of the Pettin era was he did focus too much on all of his different ways to get rushing the passer. He left a lot of his secondary out to hang into a dry in a lot of cases. And so I expect that to improve this year. I think with a good sound scheme, he's got potential to step in there. But the Green Bay secondary, I'm telling you boys, you got to watch out for that this year, because I think it's going to be as good as it has been in the last 10 years. Maybe since the early Rodgers era, when we had, some of those, when we won the Super Bowl and had that really good secondary back in the day, with Al Harris, Charles Woodson. So there's a lot of talent back there. We continue to develop it, and so we're going to wait and see. But those we're going to highlight here. That's what we're going to start with here, and we'll wait and see what comes of it here in these next few weeks.
All right. I like it. So, gentlemen, we just went through our training camp battles, and training camp starts next week. It is football season approaching us rapidly, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Right. This is the time of year where you just start getting a little more excited. I just, the optimism just starts flowing out, like Barney about the offensive line, me about the Lions. And I'm just getting at you. I'm just rubbing on you. Remy about Jeff Gladney and or Cam Dantzler. Sorry, Cam Dantzler. And of course, Kinger about Aaron Rodgers. So, we all got our thing.
We got talking. Talking a little bit there, boys. We really did.
I like it though. We are back, baby, and we are going to have a lot to say. Our second go around here with the Pylon and this 2021-2022 season in the NFC North. It's going to be a lot of good stuff. Instagram at the Pylon, Twitter at the Pylon Pod. Please follow us on there. Please subscribe to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We'd really appreciate that. And leave a review as well. We'd also really appreciate that. So, gentlemen, training camp will start ramping up, and we will be reacting to it going forward. So thank you, everybody, for listening. For Kinger, Remy, Barney, I'm Big Z. Everybody, we will see you as training camp starts ramping up.
Season 2,
Skull.
Episode 1 in the books. Bear down.